speaking on cultural appropriation. And as you know from my past presentations, I like to draw inspiration from other things. So it's always like a referencing tool, and in the industry, in the fashion industry, a big part of, even if you're like a designer or a stylist, it's about referencing other things, and you create like a whole visual mood board just so you can like have something to get inspired by. So recently, this kind of like draws into the, cultural appropriation. But recently, Rihanna was performing on Saturday Night Live. Did anybody catch her performing Diamonds? It was like 2 weeks ago. No one? Well, she did this. These are basically screenshots from the performance. And in the back, it's like these Windows 95 like screensavers. It's like all this, CGI from the 90s. And it's actually a culture. And it's called C-Punk. And it developed online, and it's been really pushed and, derived and linked and shared all through the internet, through Tumblr and all this social media, and it was created by social media enthusiasts. So their aesthetic is, they kind of reference all these here, which is like hologram, Lisa Frank, all the 90s nostalgia, and it just is like this trippy mood, and they're really proud of that because it's like a recent development. It kind of started around like 2011, so it's really new. And so when they saw Rihanna like making it, because it's kind of like a hipster thing, so when they saw Rihanna like on Saturday Night Live, a major, primetime television show, they were like, oh, it's mainstream now. So it kind of like stirred the internet, and a lot of people were outraged that, loved that aesthetic, and it was kind of like, they felt it was just theirs, not for somebody to like exploit and market on. And so there's just like these little rants here and there. She's like that, she called it swagger jacking. So, they're just like super offended. So do you think C-Punks have a right to be pissed off? Anyone? Well, I'll go a little further because Azealia Banks, she just did her latest music video, and it's the same C-Punk aesthetic. And then, in the midst of everything, Proenza schouler, which is like it's like a fashion favorite in the industry. She's a designer, and she did the same kind of, like an advertisement kind of thing. So it's like this marketing tool now, and they don't think it's like fair because they're not getting any money, and they're the ones that started it. And so Bibi Ziva, she's like this popular blogger, and she's like the OG, C-Punk. And she was like one of the most, since she has a lot of followers, a lot of her rants and everything were all over the internet, and they were looked to for like this whole debate. And she said that Rihanna's performance marked the commodification of an aesthetic movement. So she's like against cultural appropriation. And she kind of went on, it was like this whole rant on Twitter, and she just said like, let's just wait until Forever 21 puts a price tag on it, and I can't believe you guys aren't like mad about it, because some people weren't. And so for the people that weren't, they were kind of like, this is the internet, culture is shared, that's kind of like how this derived. So, and it's echoed and repeated, so it's fine. And these two gentlemen actually had a big part in the movement of C-Punk. So he said, Jerome LOL says, no one owns the 90s. Internet is culture's playground at its best, so just stay positive. And then he went on to kind of like be in the middle of everything, because he says, kids, C-Punk is safe, culture is free for everyone to share. Azealia Banks has been into that style for a long time. Rihanna, however, ... So it's kind of like, Rihanna just kind of like picked up, she like jumped on the bandwagon, so he's like kind of iffy about it. And so whose side are you on, just like from those, two rants? Just by show of hands, who agrees with like Bibi, who is against like the first one? No one? Everybody's like with the Jerome LOL and then, cool. So just like keep that kind of mentality in mind, because I'm going to move on to like a more serious subject, which is like involves racism. And so in the fashion industry, like I said, we like to, reference cultures and time periods and movies, just anything that gets us inspired. So And then I think now, with the age of like the internet and globalization is like huge, which is basically integrating different cultures from other cultures. So it's just like a whole mix, and like everything I think now is more of a mashup. So we kind of take in the industry, it's like we just kind of slap chic on it, like grunge, like boho chic, and then it's like automatically updated. It's like these little terms that they use to modernize it, and or like grunge chic, like it's always chic. They always throw that in there, and or it'll be like, they also say it's like an unexpected way. So if it's like this super baggy slouchy jean, and then you throw on like a cute like Chanel blazer, then it's like, oh, it's unexpected, but it's kind of just like combining. It's a mixture of things. So Gwen Stefani was wearing a bindi in the 90s, and Chanel just did that too, like the Indian inspired. And then this is just kind of like an updated, like ethnic look. And then they just like, put neon, I don't know, it's just like a whole hodgepodge of things. And then, like no one would ever wear like a blazer with like, the African tribal kind of thing. So that's just kind of how it's appearing in editorials and in fashion. So these people have gotten a lot of backlash for what they did. And, for borrowing from other people's culture when they're not that culture. So Lana Del Rey, she just released her new music video, Ride, and she's wearing like an Indian headdress. And people have been like talking about it, how it's not appropriate and she should like take it down. And then Gwen Stefani also, her like latest video, she had to take down because of the whole Indian headdress. She got a lot of people were angry and upset. And then Prada, their whole runway was all white models. And they had like these earrings, which you guys can see down on that far corner. And it's like the mammy, which is like, a term from like slavery. And it's just like, it just seems kind of like weird and wrong that they wouldn't even feature like any black models, yet they're like, kind of like capitalizing on this, like such an awful time period. And Beyonce did like the blackface. It was like a year ago. And, she got a lot of slack for that. And then Gwen Stefani, again, she has like this, big thing with borrowing from other cultures. And she did, it's almost like packaged and sold now, like these Harajuku lovers. They're like these cute little Japanese girls. And she kind of took that aesthetic. And for a minute, she would like go down the Grammys with them, like just behind her. And it's weird for like a white woman to just be, having like these like little Asian girls who I'd never heard talk ever the whole time she was like promoting that. And now I think if you think of Harajuku, it's like, oh, the Target line, or like, oh, that perfume, rather than like that cool culture from Japan. So that's kind of like why there's so much controversy. So I'm going to show you guys the video, because Victoria's Secret, this is just recently, they are under fire as well.
Victoria's Secret annual fashion show is practically synonymous with risque, straddling the very fine line of sexy versus scandalous. But by some accounts, their latest show strutted across that line when supermodel Carly Kloss walked the runway in this Native American headdress, leopard print bikini, and turquoise belt. The outfit caused outrage, criticized as an offensive display of ignorance towards Native American tribal culture and history. The company responded right away, saying it would not include the outfit when the show airs next month, and issuing this apology, saying, "We are sorry that the Native American headdress replica used in our recent fashion show has upset individuals. We sincerely apologize, as we absolutely had no intention to offend anyone."
The brand did the right thing by apologizing quickly. This is a tremendous publicity opportunity for the company, and they don't want to mess that up.
This isn't the first controversial barely there outfit from Victoria's Secret. Some saying their sexy little geisha, wild thing, and country girl outfits promote stereotypes. Yet another designer, Paul Frank, was met with...
So that's basically, they were talking a little bit about the Gwen Stefani thing, but I already spoke on it, so that's fine. So I just want to bring this to discussion. So do you think that Victoria's Secret was being insensitive when they, released the model wearing the headdress? Go ahead.
I don't think it was they were just being insensitive. I think it was just kind of ignorance and not really thinking that it would
think like, why does everything have to be like a racist thing? But I don't know if it's because I'm like privileged. I've been raised in, Southern California where it's so diverse. So I never really like, racism never crossed my mind. I was so accepting of like all the different cultures. But, there's some parts in like middle America that don't have that privilege. So I think that might be it. Like that's kind of like what people have been saying. And then also it's like, where does this line stop? Like if I'm gonna wear like a feathered earring, how those were super popular, like is that wrong? Or like the moccasins, is that wrong? Like you just don't know. So
That's what I interpreted it as too, like, because I think we see that everywhere. Like I see girls walking around with the little moccasin shoes, and
yeah,
so that's where my mind goes. It doesn't go to like the culture, that I maybe just because I live in Southern California and I see just so many different things going on.
Right.
It's not. I'm not in the middle of nowhere where this is like a shocker. So.
right. Yeah, that's exactly my point too. And then is there any way to be culturally pure, and do we even want to start talking that way about culture? Like I can only wear, I'm like Mexican, Panamanian, can I only wear like stuff from my culture, or am I allowed to like, wear that feather earring? And what do you guys think? Is that like, do you think that's where it's headed, or do you think like globalization and like the way that internet is helping us see different cultures, and like, because there's so many blogs out there now, I can go on like a Japanese blog and see like how they're dressing and kind of borrow from their aesthetic, or like a Swedish blog, and I think that's like so beautiful that we can like share that. But then I see like so many controversies like again and again, so I just don't know. Yeah.
I think that is a good thing that we're able to share our culture and people are able to take things from that. It's a positive thing, because at one point in our country that wasn't acceptable, or we weren't able to do that, and like I look around and I see like white girls in dress, and I think that that's so cool.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like goes hand in hand, and I think that we're coming together as a culture, and I think it's a positive thing. I don't think it has to be segregated, or you can only do this because that's your culture, So
Yeah.
it is still our country's changing.
Does anybody? Yeah.
I was just gonna agree with what you said. Like, I think you're complementing another culture, another idea when you want to copy it.
Yeah.
It's better than saying, oh, those dreads are nasty, I'm not gonna wear them. Like, if they wear them themselves, it's more like, oh no, I like it, I like your style, I like the idea that that's cool.
I know, I kind of was, when I was doing this, I was like, I don't think anybody that is racist would really wear that culture that they disliked. So I think that was like a good point. Does anybody else want to add any to this conversation? No? All right, thank you so much. I hope you guys opened up your minds and like kind of saw this if you guys weren't paying attention to it before. And yeah, just thank you for hashing out everything with me.